hurts. It hurts the fellas. I mean, a lot of people have reached out to me. We've had a lot of deep conversations. We're knee deep into trying to save every single Afghani American citizen that has reached out to us for help. And we're doing this right now, real time. I'm looking at my phone and there's messages coming across as we're having this discussion. And it's kind of taking my attention away a little bit because it's so disruptive what's going on down there real time. It's completely different from what we're hearing from our own people in our own government. The whole idea of an American citizen being able to walk up to the commercial airline with his passport and get on a plane is absolute fabrication of the truth. Absolutely. That is not happening on the ground. It never has been since they started retreating. And they came into, and we now established a defensive line, and the Taliban is right in the line. There's no way that those folks can be able to do that. And that's how this movement, I haven't really talked about this movement to your audience, but with you, I mean, this movement has taken place from these conversations with each other about what are we going to do about this? Because we spent our life there. I spent my youth. My youth was spent in war for this country. And I too bought into the fact that we're going to liberate the oppressed. The oppresso liber. Liberate the oppressed and let them have an opportunity to live free without the fear of a Taliban regime. A horrible regime that we all of a sudden, we forgot that 20 years ago they were cutting people's heads off. And that now we're negotiating with them, and they're telling us what to do, what we can and cannot do on the ground. So we said, okay, we'll do you one better, USG. We'll do you one better, Taliban. We're going to do everything we can to get people inside there and get them on a plane and go. Because we believe not one left behind, not one. And it's not about politics to us. I don't really care. It's just, you're a leader. You should lead from the front. You should never allow our U.S. citizens to be placed in a position where they're stranded. I know they don't like that term, but there's no other way to call it than being stranded when you leave them. And if you don't think that they bought into it, think back about those folks that held onto that airplane when it was leaving.
Perry, I want to catch you on a couple of these things because let me, for the audience once more. And Perry, thanks again for taking time out. Perry is literally working round the clock right now with many other soft brothers and sisters to get and other veterans and civilians. Folks, I mean, this movement has become a real American values type movement where we say, look, there might be people who don't care and they don't really mind keeping their word, and they don't care about the people that they partner with and the things they promise. But we as Americans, there's a bigger group here that can work despite our leadership in Washington and despite the folks who are allowing this to happen from various government agencies. So Perry, you are part of, and the specific name, I don't know the name of yours. We've talked about so many. There's Yellow Umbrella, there's Pineapple Brigade, there's Digital Dunkirk, all of these things referencing, groups of people who've come together using social media, email, telephones, contacts on the ground to get people out of Afghanistan as we race towards this self-imposed August 31st deadline. Now, Perry, here's my first question. We all watched the president just a couple of days ago, and the president said, hey, we're not going to get all the American citizens out because there are many American citizens who don't want to come. They want to stay in Afghanistan because they have dual passports and they want to stay there. Now, Perry, how many of those folks are you running into you know, that they're saying, well, I want my sister out, but I'm going to stay because I really want to stay in Afghanistan?
None. Okay, first of all, zero. There's zero people that want to stay there. And it's the example of that, again, goes back to them holding on to an airplane to leave. Never been on an airplane in their life, and they're holding on to the outside of it. So you get no more greater example of countering that message than that visual right there. But for us, there are definitely people that want to bring their families with them.
Yeah.
And they're American citizens, and their families may not be yet. Like their children may not have their citizenship papers yet. He does, his wife does, but their children doesn't. So we expect him to leave his children behind? No, no man would do that in his right mind. So certainly they're not going to do it. So that narrative is, again, a fabrication of the truth. They want to get out, but you can't leave behind a family member who, by the way, so far has a visa to get in. But we've decided the cut is AMCITs, American citizens, and then that's it. We can't leave. You can't, in his right mind, leave those folks behind. We've got people. Now, I want you all to listen to this for a second, because when I found this out, I couldn't believe it. It hurt to the core. We've got people in the Special Forces Corps that are Afghanis that are American citizens. Their wife is left behind in Afghanistan. It's children in Afghanistan, and they cannot get out. We were pushing, leveraging every single contact we have for these folks to get their families out. So to have these arbitrary priorities and then to say, well, if you want to get out, you can get out, is absolutely false narrative. Not happening. They want to get out, but we won't let them out. They want to get out, and we can't get them through the gate. And this whole movement started with watching this go down really rapidly. And we started talking with each other. We started hearing from our interpreters that we used to work with who couldn't get through a gate. It's as simple as that. This problem set is as simple as getting through a gate, and it has caused the death of 13 of our best. 13 of our best died because of a gate, our tactical presence on a gate. Because we won't let people in that need to leave. Because we already have their process sieve, the special immigration visas, but they can't get in, and they're at the gate asking to get in. They want to get in so they can get on that plane and come to America. And not all of them are coming to America either. So it's not like they're taking anybody's place that's coming up from the South. A lot of these folks are going to different countries. They're sitting in Doha. Right. So that is absolutely false.